Good afternoon. This is History of the Promise Bible Handbook presented by He Promised Publications. Today we're going to do episode 12, trying something new with the camera. Me and the camera are having issues, guys, so I'll figure it out one day. I will figure it out. So episode 12 today is Genesis chapter 8. And Genesis chapter 8 discusses the end of the Great Flood. The end of the Great Flood. Okay? So, we're going to go ahead and get to the reading, then we'll get to the questions, comment section. Genesis chapter 8, starting at verse 1. Yahweh remembered Noach, all the animals, and all the livestock that were with him in the ship. And Yahweh made a wind to pass over the earth, and the water subsided. The fountains of the deep and the windows of the sky were also stopped, and the rain from the sky was restrained. The waters continually receded from the earth. After the end of the 150 days, the waters decreased. The ship rested in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, on Ararat's mountains. The waters decreased continually until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the 1st day of the month, the tops of the mountains were visible. At the end of 40 days, Noach opened the window of the ship which he had made, and he sent out a raven. It flew back and forth until the waters were dried up from the earth. Then he sent out a dove to see if the waters had completely left the surface of the ground. But the dove found no place to rest her foot, and she returned into the ship to him, for the waters were on the surface of the whole earth. He put out his hand and took her in and brought her to him into the ship. Okay. He waited yet another 7 days, and again he sent the dove out of the ship. The dove came back to him at evening, and behold, in her mouth was a freshly plucked olive leaf. So Noach knew that the waters were gone from the earth. Now, real quick, and it's probably mentioned. Like I said, I'm not reading this again from the start. From the beginning to end. Before I get to you guys, I'm just reading. Okay. But again, like I told you guys yesterday, from what I'm reading to you, put yourself in the place of these people. They were in the boat for a minute. No other people, crammed up with animals, and could not get out. Okay, so put yourself in their place. Think about this. Contemplate it. So let's move forward. Okay. Verse 12. He waited yet another 7 days and sent out the dove, and she didn't return to him anymore. In the 601st year, in the 1st month, the 1st day of the month, the waters were dried up from the earth. Noach removed the covering of the ship and looked. Now this is the upper window, okay, up off the 3rd floor. And he saw that the surface of the ground was dry. Now remember, for all that was going on still, the winds were probably still blowing. So it's drying things up. Verse 15 says, Yahweh spoke to Noach, saying, Go out of the ship, you, your wife, your sons, and your sons' wives with you. Bring out with you every living thing that is with you of all flesh, including birds, livestock, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, that they may breed abundantly in the earth and be fruitful and multiply on the earth. It's talking about the people and the animals, okay? Noach went out with his sons, his wife, and his sons' wives with him. Every animal, every creeping thing, bugs included, okay? And every bird, whatever moves on the earth after their families, went out of the ship. Noach built an altar to Adonai, or the Lord, and took every clean animal, not everyone, but took of every clean animal and of every clean bird, and offered ascending offerings on the altar. Adonai smelled a pleasant aroma. Adonai said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground any more for man's sake, because the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. I will never again strike every living thing as I have done. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night will not cease. So these things will keep going. So this is pretty quick one, but take some contemplation. So let's get into the questions and remarks area and keep moving forward here. How did Yahweh get rid of the flood water from the earth? How did Yahweh get rid of the flood waters from the earth? Like I said, pause me if you need to look some stuff up. Google, Bible, whatever you're using, okay? If you're using the History of the Promise handbook, even better. Makes it easy for you. How many days did it take? How many days did it take? In parentheses under that question, it says, if you have a Hebrew calendar and have figured out how to match the months to the Gregorian calendar, what month or season did the ark rest on the mountains of Ararat? What month or season did the ark rest on the mountains of Ararat? Now, like I said, the only way for you to answer this question is to have looked at and matched up a Hebrew calendar versus a Gregorian calendar, when the calendar was changed, okay? Side note, when a new moon is mentioned, that is also a month, okay? New moon is the start of the month. A lot of us know that. Next question. What was the first bird that Noach sent out of the ark? What was the first bird that Noach sent out of the ark? Next question. Which bird was used later, and what did it bring back as a sign that the trees were visible? Which bird was used later to see if the waters had gone down, and what did it bring back as a sign that trees were finally visible? And not only visible, but growing. You're talking about, now let's dig into this a little bit. Earth is covered with water. Look out your windows, those of you who can see trees. I know some people live in the cities and trees aren't of abundance. And think of water being so high because it was high, it was covering mountains. That all of the trees are covered. And think of the time it would take as waters are receding to see a branch. Put yourself in this. You've been in this boat for a minute. A minute. That's our speak for a long time. And you finally see the branch of a tree. Can you imagine how you would feel? And if you can imagine what that would feel like after seeing nothing but water on the outside, peeking out that top window, and a bunch of animals and stuff on the inside, and you finally see a tree branch, how would that feel to you? That was not written. That was a side note. You know how I get. I want to dig in your brains a little bit deeper, cause you to do some contemplation on your own. All right. Next question. With a written in, think about, okay? How much higher is the highest mountain than an olive tree? How much taller is the tallest mountain than the tallest olive tree you can imagine? Think about this in terms of how much water there was during the flood. Okay? We get these floods from time to time, tornadoes. I'm thinking down in the southern states of the United States. And people think these floods are something when they flood, say if they flooded even half a house. And it trips people out. How much taller is a mountain than a house? Or let's do this. How much taller is an olive tree than a house? How much taller is a mountain than a house? We think we be going through something. But that's just because we, you know, a lot of the world believes in self. And self cannot fathom that nature will jack you up. You're not in control of nothing. We're not in control of nothing. At any given moment, nature, when you're feeling good about yourself, and this is for the rich and the poor, you can't stop nature. You can't scare it. You can't arrest it. You can't kill it. Nature's going to do what it's going to do. And you are at its mercy. But peep this. Throw this in the mix now. What if you had a little bit of faith that as waters are rising that you're going to be okay? That's what the promise offers. A little bit of faith to know that when everything is looking really bleak, looking really sucky, I'm going to use my words, that faith in the one who created it all can save you. Can save you. Even if it saves you in death. But you know, that's deep, and I don't know if that's going to come up again. That's just coming out my mouth. But that's the deepest understanding. All right? So now I got to figure out where I was at. Okay. How long were Noach and his family in the ark with the land and air animals? How long were Noach, his family, the land and air animals in the ark? I'm not talking about until the rain stopped. I'm talking about how long were they in it from the time the Lord closed the big door until they saw dry land. All right, let's go on. Noach saw dry ground on the first day of the first month of the Hebrew calendar, which is called Abib, which is around March or early April. Springtime, the beginning of spring. What is normally going on during this season? Now, I'm going to tell you. Of course, that was not written in the verses that you just heard. That was research. Research when I'm talking about matching up the Hebrew calendar with the Gregorian calendar. So we got some switch-ups. The switch-ups. And it goes deeper from there. If the March, April time, end of March, early April, spring, is the beginning of the year, according to the Hebrew calendar, somebody got some explaining to do. And I'm going to just leave it at that. You think about it. Think about it. Things have been changed up. Some of us are mildly aware of that. Just think about that. I'm going to leave it at that. I was about to make a comment, but something's telling me to be quiet on that one, so I'm going to be quiet on that one. All right. What was Yahweh's promise to Noach, and how long was that promise to last? What was Yahweh's promise to Noach, and how long was that promise to last? I got to tell you, this question right here, I'm actually going to have to flip back and find it myself. All right, just because I've read the Bible a few times and done, we did this with promise doesn't mean it all sticks. So sometimes you got to go back and figure out, what exactly was going on. Finally, last question for chapter 8, episode 12. What symbol has Yahweh shown to the world to keep this, what symbol has Yahweh shown the world to keep this very day? Ooh, reading it wrong. Let's try one more time. What symbol has Yahweh shown the world to this very day that he will keep that promise. Now, I'm flipping back. I'm be honest with you guys. I'm flipping back. And the last two questions seem to be better answered in the next episode. When this handbook was being put together, I do not know. I cannot answer as to why the last two questions are placed here. Could be to give us something to think about. So if you don't, or to give some people might have mind to research ahead into the next chapter. So I don't know why they were put in here, but it could be for one of you to search out. I could answer the question, but it's not in the chapter that we went through. So I don't know, and it's not for me to know. I just have a job to do. Who the Lord is trying to reach, but he knows who he's trying to reach, and he knows what he's got to do to get you. Trust me, he wants you more than you want him. And he's going to work a lot harder to get you. But we all know there'll come a stop point. So, those two questions being there, which is stumping me a little bit, it's for one of you. It's not for me. It's for one of you. But we're going to go ahead and end for the day. My prayer, as always, before I sit down here, for whoever is listening, for whoever has been brought to this Bible study, is that you will allow the Lord to creak open the door of your sensical mind, the one that is connected with him by your creation, and be able to take in what you need, what you're looking for. Blessings on you and yours, always, regardless of what you choose. Blessings upon you in this earth, because there's not one person walking this earth that does not need some type of blessings. All right? And we'll catch you tomorrow. You guys have a good afternoon. Bye.